Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're here once again with the Wood Elves, going to be facing up against the Foul Skaven. This is one of the battles that I fought up against Professor Pone in the Best of 5 series that we fought on Turn's stream. Figured I'd bring this one to you guys, just because it's a pretty good showcase of the Wood Elves and what they could potentially do up against the Skaven. So my forces are indeed led by Orion himself. He is carrying the Cloak of Isha to make him very hard to kill. When his health gets low, he gets that 44% damage resistance and heavy healing, which helps keep him alive. He also has a Hawk's Talon and Hounds of Orion, which are nice, AoE damaging abilities, good against low armor targets, which the Skaven have plenty of. We also have 4 units of Glade Guards with Starfire Shafts. These guys have armor piercing and magic damage, as well as flaming damage, meaning they're going to be good against most targets the Skaven can bring. Flaming damage is obviously going to be good against things like a Hell Pit Abomination. The magic is going to be great against the physical resistance of units like Plague Monks and Gutter Runners, and so on. And yeah, these guys are just going to be very useful in general in this matchup. In the center, we've got 2 units of War Dancers. These are the anti-infantry variant. Of course, they're going to be very good against the Skaven since they're mostly infantry. They're supported here in the center by the Branch Wraith with his melee attack buff, as well as Earthblood. And on this matchup, I brought Penumbral Pendulum, just to give me another AoE damaging ability. We've also got 4 units of Dryads, 2 on this flank, 2 on this flank. These guys, again, magic damage is going to be good against physical resistance. They're also a pretty decent damage dealer type unit. They don't have the best weapon strength and combat stats, but they can definitely get some work done. Got a little more armor in Mortal Empires as well, as having a 20% physical resistance, so definitely decent in this matchup. To protect the rear, we've got 2 units of War Dancers with Azrai Spear to help counter, Doom Wheels and Rat Ogres and so on. And deployed, vanguarded out here on the far side, we've got 1 unit of Sisters of Thorns. These guys have a lot of different utility abilities, and yeah, these gals are definitely rough stuff. Curse of Anraher, combined with the Poison Javelins, can help slow enemy targets and catch things like Gutter Runners, although you won't want to take that missile fire. The Shield of Thorns can help mitigate much of that with 22% missile resistance, and it also gives them a nice weapon damage buff, which can be very good at, buffing War Dancers. You can use it to self-buff the Sisters of Thorn, or, provide a variety of other kind of nice utility, and they're also very fast. They can kind of move around the battlefield and very hard to catch with the poison and that buff, so we're just going to be moving up my forces here. For Professor Pone, his forces are led by Lord Skrolk, who's honestly probably the most competitive Skaven Lord. He's also got a Warp Lock Engineer just carrying the Warp Stone Armor. Looks like he did not elect to bring the Howling Warp Gale, which can potentially be useful if your opponent brings the Glady on a Hawk or a Dragon. It can be nice to have that Howling Warp Gale, but Professor Pone decided to cut it here. He's also got an Assassin to help protect Skrolk, which is a very good idea. 1 unit of Poison Globadiers to help deal with the large units. Front line is Plague Monks mixed with Clan Rats, which will be decent against, infantry, light armor infantry. 2 units of Rat Ogres as well. 1 Storm Vermin over here to protect the Warp Lightning Cannon, and the Gutter Runner Vanguard deployed out on the far side. So we'll get the fighting underway straight away here, and you can see I'm going to be opening up shots with my Glade Guards with Starfire Shafts. Going to immediately give them a focus fire order on this unit of Plague Monks here in the center, and they're going to take a nasty amount of fire here from these Glade Guards, and the Starfire Shafts will do an immense amount of damage here. These guys already dropped about 30% of their HP and declining very, very rapidly. And as the Skaven line approaches here, we've got Orion in kind of a disruption, pocket there. We're also going to be getting the Dryads, although I'm going to miss my charge bonus. Oh, looks like I actually got it off just at the last moment there, but the Rat Ogres will definitely do a ton of shock damage, getting a really nice charge in there. And here in the center, Orion is taking a lot of damage. He's got Skrolk. Skrolk's in here, definitely having a great time, as well as this Assassin. He's definitely probably popped the trophy heads. Looks like he indeed has. He's going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to Orion. The Poison Globadiers as well will do damage to Orion. He does count as a large entity, so the terror from him is potentially going to be nice, though. If I can do enough shock damage with the War Dancers and other units here, to rout these guys off with the terror, that'll be very strong. War Dancers here just engaging on the clan rats, and over here, again, Dryads taking a ton of shock damage from the Rat Ogres initially, but then the second unit following up, we're able to follow up with the Azurai Spears as well, and they're going to teach those Rat Ogres a nasty lesson. And yeah, you can see the Sisters of Thorn over on the far side trying to get in on that Warp Lightning Cannon, but Professor Bone doing a very good job protecting with those Storm Vermin. That Warp Lightning Cannon is a very significant investment, so definitely want to try and protect as much as possible. You can see all kinds of AoE abilities going off here, the Hounds of Orion, and we're going to be getting a bombardment in here as well. Just kind of trying to break up the center pocket. We are losing this War Dancer a little bit here. They've taken quite a bit of damage from those Plague Monks, and Lord Skrolk actually does a surprising amount of damage in melee as well. But this Storm Vermin here took a nasty amount of damage. Beautiful penumbral pendulum, breaking up this entire pocket here, and the shock damage from that combined with the terror from Orion is going to rout off all these Skaven troops here. You can see the Warp Lightning, or excuse me, the Poison Globadiers now taking the focus fire from all these Glade Guards with the Starfire shafts, and yeah. It's not quite over yet, though. Skaven summoning up some clan rats here. The assassins going to town on these dryads here. Orion is very low. I've had to pull him over to the side here just to try and keep him alive. Even with the Cloak of Isha, I don't really want to risk him up in combat against this kind of goon squad here. Skrolk's a little bit out of position, but War Dancers do have the speed to chase down Skaven infantry. Skaven infantry are very fast, especially when they get that scurry away mechanic. But, you know, War Dancers can potentially catch them. Unfortunately, it looks like we're dropping a couple attack orders here, but we've been able to shatter all the units over on this side. Sisters of Thorn just kind of continuously poking away, and even if they're not taking damage from these Storm Vermin and not doing a whole lot of damage in return, they're tying this unit up and keeping it honest, because if, you know, Professor Pone decides to pull these units over into the mainline fight where they're somewhat needed, then I'll be able to get on this Warp Lightning Cannon, and yeah, definitely just a rough situation. Warp Lightning Cannon is getting a few shots on those War Dancers, but their low model count means they'll be relatively tough targets. Regrouped Rat Ogres on the far side going to be taking the focus fire from the Starfires up on the high ground. Definitely have a commanding position on the battlefield here, so yeah, terrain here on the outskirts of Altdorf, which is one of my favorite maps. Beautiful cinematic map, has a lot of really interesting terrain. It's not too terrain heavy, but it does have like this wooded patch that I engaged in here. Kind of has this little sloped high ground, and you kind of have a couple of small ridges next to this roadway here. So it definitely has some cool kind of terrain variations, and definitely one of my favorite maps here. You can see in the back line, though, this heroic goon squad of the Skaven is a little bit inundated and surrounded here. The balance of power is still deceptively close, but as these three, you know, heroic units all terrify away, it's going to pretty much put a dagger to the balance of power and immediately shifts heavily in my favor. Yeah, the Storm Vermin over here still holding out admirably, but the Glade Guards are going to start turning their attention over to this pocket here. And yeah, the Sisters of Thorn, after having been poking away at these guys for some time, the War Dancers came in, did a little bit of damage. Now we're going to charge in, and with that physical resistance, you know, they'll definitely hold up for a minute. I mean, you definitely don't want to leave them in even as long as I've left them in here, but they're definitely a very strong unit in hit and run style situations. You know, if you're charging an unbraced unit, especially lighter mass units like any Skaven infantry, even Storm Vermin. Storm Vermin have a little bit heavier mass, but even then, they'll still take quite a bit of shock damage if they're charged when they're unbraced. So we're just going to be quickly pulling away there, and you can see just a few seconds left on the balance of power, and we'll go ahead and just fast forward through the end here as the Wood Elves kind of pull together and just rout off the last of the troops here, desperately trying to summon up some clan rats to help protect Lord Skrolk, but Orion does get the best of him there, and having survived the battle, takes the day. So well played to Professor Pone. It was a very fun battle. I'll be bringing you guys a few more battles from that Best of 5 series, including a High Elf versus a Bretonnia game that if you have seen already, you know that that game is awesome, and I'm going to really go in depth and kind of break that down a little bit, just because that matchup was awesome. But I wanted to bring this to you just to give you a little bit of variety. I know I've been going pretty hard on Bretonnia the last few days, so figured I'd give the Wood Elves here a little bit of love, and definitely very good against the Skaven. The Wood Elves are one of the Game 1 factions that I think stand up very well to pretty much all of the Game 2 factions. They can stand up well to the High Elves. It's a little bit rough there because of, you know, certain units like, Dragon Princes. They have the fire resistance, so Starfire shafts aren't going to be great against them. And, you know, you're definitely going to have to try and pin them down with Prey Ivana Threma and kill them with something like an Azrai Spear. Even then, it can be tricky. I'm still experimenting a little bit. The High Elf matchup can be tricky, but Dark Elves are doable. Lizards and Skaven are both very doable, in my opinion. So, Wood Elves definitely in a really good place right now in this patch. Nice to see them be able to kind of rely on some of their toolkit units and not have to go so cheesy, because it seemed like in a lot of the last patches of Total War Warhammer 1, they were kind of not that great, and so you had to kind of bring sort of gimmicky, cheesy armies to win with them. Right now, I feel like you can play pretty heads up, and I mean, with the Starfire Shafts, it's a great armor-piercing missile. They have really nice infantry selection options too, a lot of good mobility, so I really like where the Wood Elves are at right now. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I keep it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.